My name was Lily, and I hated waiting. Waiting usually meant that something bad had already happened. The instant the police dog slowly turned his head toward the small girl inside the airport, something unseen yet powerful shifted in the heart of the crowded terminal. Trained canine units are not supposed to react to strangers, especially not while on duty. And yet this one did. His ears dipped slightly, as if her quiet voice had reached a place no command ever could. For a brief moment, the rolling suitcases, boarding announcements, and rushing footsteps faded into nothing, leaving only a child kneeling on the cold floor, and a dog who suddenly looked less like an officer and more like someone who had been waiting to be noticed. Before we continue, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. And I'm genuinely curious, where are you watching from? Write your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Back to the story. The girl couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Her backpack hung a little too large on her narrow shoulders, and her jacket was zipped all the way up as if she were trying to protect herself from more than just the airport's cold air. When she asked, "Are you lost too?" her voice wasn't playful or loud. It was gentle, almost careful, like she already understood what it felt like to be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. The dog, a German shepherd wearing a black vest marked police, did not look away as he had done with everyone else that day. What no one nearby knew was that this dog, named Rex, had been sitting in the exact same spot for over an hour. He had been assigned to remain there after his handler was rushed to the hospital due to a sudden medical emergency. Officers rotated and procedures continued, but Rex stayed exactly where his handler had last commanded him to sit, loyal beyond logic, disciplined beyond emotion, even as confusion slowly crept into his posture. His training told him to wait. His instincts told him something wasn't right. The little girl edged closer, ignoring the nervous looks from nearby adults. Children often sense what grown-ups miss. She could see it in Rex's eyes. The tension mixed with uncertainty, the way his tail lay still on the floor, not relaxed, not alert, simply waiting. She whispered again, even softer this time. "I'm waiting too." It was as if she were offering him company in a pause neither of them had chosen. Rex's breathing changed first, slow and deep. Then he leaned forward just enough for his nose to brush the edge of her sleeve. That small movement sent a ripple through the officers watching from a distance. This wasn't standard behavior. It wasn't trained. It was a choice. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them. The understanding that loneliness doesn't care about age or rank. The girl smiled, a fragile smile that looked like it hadn't appeared in a while. She told him her flight was delayed, that her mother was far away talking to someone at a counter, and that airports made her feel small and forgotten. Rex listened in the only way he knew how, by staying, by not pulling away, by lying down beside her, and placing his massive presence between her and the overwhelming world around them. People began to stop and watch, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. Even without knowing the full story, they could feel it, the quiet strength of a service dog choosing compassion, the courage of a child choosing connection. And somewhere deep inside Rex, a decision was forming, one that would soon turn this simple moment into something no one in that terminal would ever forget. Rex didn't understand words like comfort the way humans do, but he understood presence. When the little girl moved closer and rested her small hand on the edge of his vest, he shifted his body just enough to make space, careful, controlled, unmistakably protective. That was the moment an officer across the terminal noticed the change. This wasn't a dog merely tolerating touch. This was a K9 actively choosing to guard someone who wasn't part of his assignment. The girl spoke again, her voice barely louder than the hum of the building. She said her name was Lily, and that she hated waiting because waiting usually meant something bad had already happened. Rex's ears twitched. Waiting was the hardest command of all, the one that demanded trust without certainty. As if he understood, Rex lifted his head and released a slow, steady breath, grounding himself so she could feel it. He was showing her that staying didn't always mean being forgotten. Minutes passed, then more. When an officer finally approached to gently lead Lily away, Rex immediately stood and placed himself between them. Not aggressively, not threateningly, just firmly. His body said what his training allowed. This child was under his protection. The officer froze. He recognized the seriousness of that stance. Canine dogs do not assume responsibility lightly. Then the radio crackled with a message that changed everything. Rex's handler was stable, awake, and asking for his dog. When Rex heard his handler's name spoken aloud, his entire posture shifted. Relief washed over him so visibly that even Lily noticed. She smiled widely and said, "See, you weren't lost. You were just waiting for your person." For the first time that day, Rex's tail moved slowly, steadily against the floor. When Lily's mother finally returned, worry etched deeply into her face. She stopped short at the sight before her. Her daughter kneeling beside a police dog, calm, safe, smiling. Tears filled her eyes. She had expected panic, fear, chaos. Instead, she found peace, created by a dog who refused to abandon his duty and a child brave enough to take the first step. The officers allowed a few more moments, knowing that some things mattered more than schedules. Lily gently wrapped her arms around Rex's neck and whispered, "Thank you," like it was a secret meant only for him. Rex lowered his head close to her, a silent promise that even in loud, crowded places, no one has to wait alone. When they finally parted, Rex returned to his post, more alert, calmer, renewed, while Lily walked away holding her mother's hand. She turned back one last time and waved. Rex sat upright and watched her until she disappeared into the crowd. Because sometimes the strongest bonds are the briefest ones. And sometimes motivation doesn't come from commands or training, but from a simple question asked at exactly the right moment, by a child who reminded a lonely police dog why loyalty, patience, and heart will always matter. This story has touched millions of hearts. Did it touch yours too? Let us know with a like. Write your country in the comments, and follow or subscribe for more incredible stories like this.